We're going to call this February meeting of the Lenoir County Board of Education to order. We will begin with the invocation. We'll recognize Mr. Williams for that tonight.
Let us pray. May the words spoken in this room tonight be beneficial to the students, parents, staff, and administrators in our school system, and may we be led by the guiding principle to always base our decisions on the best interests of our young people. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is the approval of the agenda for this evening.
Motion to approve the board agenda as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Hill,
Second.
second by Mr. Nobles. Any further discussion regarding the agenda? Therefore, all in favor, raise your right hand. The agenda for tonight is approved. Next item is the board chair comments. I'm glad to see we have a full house tonight. I'm not sure what's on the agenda to bring everybody out, but it's always nice to see a lot of people here at the board meeting. I wanted to talk just briefly about the school grades that came out just the last couple of weeks. I feel like Mr. Hill and Mr. Smith both talked about this at prior board meetings. But when we got the school grades, it was exactly what we expected. Really nothing out of the ordinary. What we saw, and what I think everybody's seen by this school grading system, and when you look at the statistics, 100% of the schools that were graded an F have over a 50% poverty level. 100% of them. 97% of the schools that were graded a D had over 50% poverty level. If you wanted to know how we were going to rank, you could have taken our free and reduced lunch schools and ranked them from the least to the most, and it would have matched up with our grades. What they've come up with here is a pretty accurate way of measuring poverty in a community, but it's not a very accurate way of measuring the quality of schools. One thing it does show us is we absolutely need more pre-K programs in our disadvantaged communities. When you base letter grades on test scores by 80%, what you're going to see is here at the school system, there's only so much we can do when the child comes to us behind. It's a question of growth that you need to be looking at. And in our system, 9 of our schools either met or exceeded their benchmarks for growth, and we are very proud of those. I would also say if you have concerns about our schools, this is not the first time a North Carolina report card has come out. They've been reported online since 2001. If you go online, you can see all kinds of information, not just one grade about your school. And we would certainly encourage you, if you have concerns about any of our schools, to come and talk to our administration, come visit the school, talk to the principal, and see what's really going on. It's really not fair to put a label on these schools like this. Moving on, I also want to announce that we do have plans for a legislative dinner coming up where we plan to meet with our legislators, and I feel like we'll probably be discussing some of these same issues. We're going to be doing that for our board members on February the 19th. And we all know how important it is for us to have a good relationship with both our local and our state legislators. We count on them for a lot, and we appreciate them coming to talk to us. The other item in the works is a joint meeting with the county commissioners. We're still trying to finalize a date with them, but we do have future business and continuing business with our county commissioners, and we're going to schedule a joint meeting probably sometime in the next month or so to do that business. Next item is the superintendent's report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kinston High School senior and Vikings basketball standout Brandon Ingram has been chosen to play in the prestigious McDonald's All-American Games in Chicago on April the 1st, nationwide. Nationwide, 832 seniors were nominated for the games rosters, and only 24 were selected. Congratulations, Brandon and Kinston High School. Go Vikes. Rochelle Middle School 7th grader Tiana Lanier has been chosen to receive a Victor Bell Scholarship from the College Foundation of North Carolina. The scholarship, awarded to just 10 7th graders each year, provides $2,000 a year for Tiana's college education beginning this year and has a total value of $20,000. This is the second consecutive year Rochelle has had a Victor Bell Scholarship winner. Congratulations to Tiana. Two of our teachers, Brenda Griffin of Pink Hill Elementary and Liz Jackson of Banks Elementary, are among 30 teachers statewide chosen to receive Windows of Opportunity grants from North Carolina Beautiful. The $1,000 grant will go toward creating gardens at the two schools in keeping with North Carolina Beautiful's emphasis on environmental stewardship. Congratulations to our teachers. An innovative system of coaching teachers in the classroom is coming to LaGrange Elementary School, thanks to a $60,000 grant from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. The grant, awarded to LCPS's Exceptional Children's Department, funds the technology and training necessary to allow classroom teachers to be coached without the coach being in the classroom. The system utilizes video and Bluetooth connection that allows the coach to communicate with the teacher through an earpiece. LCPS is one of 3 districts awarded this coaching grant, thanks to Vivian Roach and her EC department, and Keisha Dunn and her staff at LaGrange for teaming up to help teachers. Please join us in saluting career and technical education as they celebrate CTE month in February. This is a nationwide access awareness event recognizing the positive impacts and opportunities for career exploration and career development through CTE that CTE provides students across the country. CTE is preparing students to be college and career ready. We will be highlighting our community partnerships with a focus on our new Lenoir County Manufacturers Association Planning Committee. Members met monthly to implement new strategies for preparing our students for the local workforce. CTE month activities planned include proclamation reading at the County Commissioners meeting, CTE Young Voices essay contest with prizes and publicity, at-school presentation and plant tours with the manufacturers, national themed t-shirts for CTE teachers, staff, and contest winners, compliments of CTE and the LCMA, LCC and LCMA Career Expo, February 25th for Kinston High School, March 12th for North Lenoir High School, and March 25th for South Lenoir High School. Work Keys Assessment for career readiness credentialing, students at work and career fairs with middle schools, school level students of the week spotlights and school displays, CTE student organizations including FBLA, FFA, and others will host school faculty meetings, breakfast, and more. Job shadowing will continue in spring at South Lenoir High School and features in the Kinston Free Press, LCPS website, and Facebook page. Okay. As already announced, we do have our legislative dinner coming up. We will be working administratively on the agenda this week and sending it out to the board. If you have items that you want to make sure we include, if you will send those to me, we will get a draft out and get ready for our legislators. They always look forward to talking to us, I am sure. The School System Improvement Task Force is up and running. We have a presentation tonight that includes excellent work that is done by the school system and the community college. I'd like to say thank you for Dr. Briley coming tonight. We have an absolutely wonderful relationship. I've heard him say, since I haven't been here as long as he has, that it's the best we've ever worked together, and I think that's the way it should be for students, certainly. North Carolina School Performance Grades, you did an excellent job. Just to say, I think as parents, you know that grade is not what your school is about. There are some issues with how that was done. There are already some bills introduced in the legislature to make some changes in that. We hope to see a more accurate accounting coming down the road in subsequent years. I wanted to talk just a little bit about inclement weather. Not that I don't appreciate all the wonderful suggestions I get on Facebook, and some who actually call to give those suggestions in person. Just wanted to let you know that we work very, very hard on inclement weather days to make sure that we are making the right call for our students. We have people up while you are sleeping. We are up at 2:30 in the morning, definitely by 4, depending on how severe the weather's going to be. We're checking with emergency management, with highway patrol. We're out riding the roads, and we spend a lot of time and effort to try to make sure our students are safe. Mother Nature sometimes will yield surprises. There's not really much anybody can do about that. And then we do the best we can, literally. But if we have any warning or any implication, even during the night, then we're not going to have buses on the road. And for those that get up with me, I appreciate what you do. Out riding roads when it's supposed to be dangerous for anybody else is not really a good idea. But that's what we need to do to make sure we know what's going on out there. We do try to give as much notice as we can to parents. I take calling off school very, very seriously. It's inconvenient to parents. We cannot educate our young people unless we have them in school. So that is a big decision and it rests on my shoulders. So I do not do it unless it's going to be dangerous for the students. And cold weather is not necessarily dangerous for the students. But if there is ice and the roads are hazardous, then we are going to call off school. And any questions you have, feel free to ask me, or you can join the Facebook votes, whichever you'd like to do. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Mazingo. And just if you didn't hear that out there, it is the superintendent's decision when school closes, so you don't have to send me those emails. And we are not up at 2:30 either. Next item is public comment, and I understand Mr. James Mumford has signed up to address the board. Is Mr. Mumford here? No. Yeah, welcome, Mr. Mumford. Yes, sir.
You move that computer out of the way, that's it right there. So.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to thank the board for this opportunity to speak. I am James Mumford, President of Kinston, Illinois County NAACP. It is the mission of the NAACP to ensure political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons, and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. I would like to also introduce Ms. Lily S. Williams, who supports this mission and serves as the branch's education chair. We, the Kinston, Illinois County branch of the NAACP, stand with parents, community leaders, and taxpaying citizens to voice our unified support of all Illinois County public schools. At a recent meeting, members of the board and community came together to voice concerns and to discuss efforts to improve the only middle school within the city of Kinston. We, the Kinston NAACP, and the broad collective community of supporters do hope the board will continue to honor their commitment for the students of Lenoir County Public Schools, as citizens have a right to the privilege of education safeguarded by the North Carolina State Constitution. While we support education equality for all schools, we do want to note that our city's only historical middle school is encompassed around a rich and thriving neighborhood. Many Kinston natives are a product of our school system, particularly East Kinston schools, and have gone on to professional careers such as educators, physicians, attorneys, police officers, and judges, just to name a few. The North Carolina State Constitution on Article 1, Section 15 states that people, the citizens, have right to the privilege of education and it being the duty of the state to guard and maintain that right. Article 9, Section 7B states that monies in the state fund shall be faithfully appropriated by the General Assembly on a per pupil basis to the counties to be used exclusively for maintaining free public education. The North Carolina State Constitution on Education is the great equalizer, and the local board, school board, as its representatives. Kinston NAACP and taxpaying citizens appeal to the moral conscience of the members of this board requesting that the schools located in predominantly low-income, African-American, and Caucasian communities be faithful in providing the necessary funds and support needed for their preservation. We all must remember to consciously stand for equality throughout all Lenoir County Public Schools. We believe that school of choice is a great option for parents, yet we are cautious of school of choice that will create a racial and class divide. We know that the public school systems everywhere have found themselves in a complicated position, being challenged by private schools, charter schools, and magnet schools, and the new K-12 online homeschool program. However, if policy on student transfer within district lines are not appropriately enforced, it will challenge the ability to increase student population and academic performance results throughout some of the Lenoir County Public Schools. When referring to Lenoir County Public Schools, UNC School of Law, State of Exclusion report stated withdrawing assignment zones to effect merger in more than name only would result in greater educational equality and opportunity for all Lenoir County students. Every elementary student within the city limits should attend our city's only historic middle school. If the Lenoir County Public Schools adheres to the district lines, citizens will see an increase in diverse student populations, higher test scores, and immediate school improvements. Our education committee recognizes the statistical data on students associated with single-parent homes and low-income families, as they are more than likely to be the recipients of low test performance results.
Mr. Mumford,
Yes.
I think you've hit the end of your time. If you could wrap it up for us.
Okay, yes, ma'am. We would like to help in this in your effort to address this matter. In 2015, we, the NAACP, would like to work with the board to assist in eliminating racially identified schools and increase student achievement. School board members, Kinston NAACP Education Committee, and the community of parents and supporters must work together to eradicate harm that race-based segregation has done. As indicated in the State of Exclusion report. As indicated in the report, racial integration within schools has to be a priority of the board. The Education Committee for Kinston Lenoir County Branch NAACP would like to be a part of the discussion, working alongside school improvement teams to help our students focus on student academic growth and proficiency, as it will help Lenoir County Public Schools. Our Education Committee will also intensify its efforts to promote parental involvement in education throughout the community. We, the Kinston Lenoir County Branch NAACP, will continuously be committed to ensuring equality in education and never regressing to a shameful past. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mumford. Next item on the agenda is a student presentation by Nicholas E. Harvey III.
Can I give you a little background before you start? Okay. With over 31 counties representative, Northwest Elementary School fifth grader Nicholas E. Harvey III won third place at the Martin Luther King Jr. speech competition in Greenville, North Carolina on January 21st, 2015. The speech writing contest was sponsored by Vidant Health for all students enrolled within the districts inside the Vidant Health service areas. The contest represented the student participants with an academic challenge that teaches important leadership qualities, the philosophy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and the ability to think and speak clearly. The topic was, if Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was to visit Eastern North Carolina today, what movement would he recommend to enhance health and wellness in our region? Mr. Harvey.
I will be reading a selection called Healthy Children.
Okay.
The philosophy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was that you set a goal and aim for that goal. I am setting a goal to help prevent health problems in Eastern North Carolina. Eastern North Carolina has a history of many health problems, including cancer, kidney stones, etc. But I want to help decrease those problems and encourage people to live a healthy lifestyle. The health issue I have chosen is childhood obesity. The reason I have chosen this topic is because it has affected people I know. Lots of junk food or other unhealthy eating habits can cause this health issue. Lack of exercise or not exercising at all can also cause it. There are two treatments. You can have surgery or you can develop healthy eating habits. But after you have the surgery, you still have to start a new lifestyle. It does not just affect regular people like you and me. Some athletes, including Shaquille O'Neal and Prince Fielder, were both obese as a child. That did not discourage them to follow their dreams. They just worked hard until they accomplished their goal. Movements Dr. Martin Luther King would support would be a 5K for kids and a healthy food drive. The 5K would be to inspire kids to get active, go play, run around, or just ride a bike. The healthy food drive would be to teach parents and kids how to eat healthier things like apples or other food or recipes that can be delicious too. If people could see a healthier lifestyle can be fun, then they would try to live it too. When I was researching this health issue, I found out it affects more boys than girls. When you go out in the community, you see boys playing sports and things like that. But when you think about it, you don't really see a boy running around or eating a salad or jogging around the block. If you get these numbers down, you can decrease health problems in eastern North Carolina. That is why I think childhood obesity is a serious health issue in eastern North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. That was wonderful and informative. The third. There's several in the room. The next item on the agenda will be the ILCPS update. If Mr. Williams would introduce our speakers.
Thank you. We're very pleased to have an ILCPS update for you tonight, part of our continuing series, monthly series. We have with us teachers Sheila West and Kayla Harris. They will give us an update. We are very pleased, especially pleased, to have with us students Alex Rice, Nicholas Harvey, Andrew McKnight, and Shakira Berra. And they will demonstrate some of the lessons that they learned with their iPads. So if you'll come forward, please.
Hi, I'm Kayla Harris, and I'm a 4th grade teacher at Moss Hill Elementary. And it's kind of hard to go after that because we did such an amazing Alex and I are here today to share with you some of the things that we have done inside of our classroom since we've had iPads enter earlier this year. And technology has been a huge buzzword that we've been hearing for the past 15 years as we've entered the 21st century. And employers tell us every day that they're looking for hirees that are comfortable in technology and they can work in team environments. Well, Lenoir County Public Schools are providing students with such skills, and they are about to produce thousands of students that will be successful in this career path of any that they choose through the use of these iPads every day. I know that you're just like me, and you probably have children and grandchildren that can access their iPhones and their iPads a lot better than you can. And so it's so wonderful to have the students teaching us. And we're thankful that Lenoir County is providing us with so many professional development opportunities for the teachers to learn to teach the students a little bit more than they might already know. Today, Alex and I, if you will join me, Alex, we want to introduce to you one of the applications you all have provided for us in the classroom, and it is called eBackpack. And this is an electronic backpack that the students access on a daily basis through their iPads. This looks like this that you can see on the screen. And I, as the teacher, have the opportunity to send out worksheets, tests, reading assignments to my students. They access it on their personal iPad, and they can pull up such worksheets. They can write on them, send them back to me for grading, and then I can therefore grade it on the iPad, sync it back to my grade book, and I'm done. And then the parents have the opportunity for immediate grades and immediate feedback from the teacher. So I'll just show you a picture really quickly of what one assessment might look like. I sent Alex this vocabulary workshop unit 8 test. She goes into the blank document and she has the ability to write with her finger or with the stylus, and then she sends it in to me and I grade it. And here, of course, she got a 100, so I'm very proud of you. And then another assessment here, this is hers as well, is a social studies test. She can go through and she can mark any way that she wants on the document, send it back for me. I can make a voice recording on it if I choose to tell her how great she's done or to make sure that she looks up the answer on the page. And I can put little stamps such as excellent, make sure you write complete sentences, etc. And like I said, this syncs right to our online gradebook so parents have immediate feedback. So here Alex is going to show you how she can manipulate the iPad and how she can access an assignment on eBackpack. Oh. Technology, we love it. It's just taking some time. Here we go.
First you'll go to eBackpack, then you'll go to My Assessments, and we will be doing ink and tie spelling test, and then you'll click on the document, and you'll hit mark it so you can write on it or type, and you'll zoom in, and then you'll hit play, and it will play the word, and it's chicken, so you'll click the pen, and you'll write chicken. And then when you're done with the spelling test, you'll hit mark it, or say, and turn in and mark as complete.
And this sends the document right to my iPad, and I can open it up, I can grade it, send it back for her so that she can see it. eBackpack is just one of hundreds of tools that we have access to on a daily basis, and more are coming to us every day. And another one we wanted to expose you to today is Reflector. We have the ability to reflect any iPad screen over the overhead projector. We use this a lot in class. Students may do a PowerPoint presentation or whatever, and they may pull it up on my screen and they can share it with their peers. One other app is KidBlog. And KidBlog is an online forum where they can go on and they can act like they're actual journalists and they're posting their ideas, and their peers and their students can come in and make little comments. And Alex is going to show you how you make a post in KidBlog.
First you'll hit new post, and you can pick a title, and I will pick Miss Hairs, and then you'll hit tab here to begin, and
You're too sweet.
Some extra credit.
Extra credit.
Smart student. Yes.
then when you're done, you'll click the preview down, and then you'll hit publish, and then there you go.
And you can see here that when it publishes, anybody who signed up for our blog can go on and see what Alex has typed. I can go in and leave a comment, and we do this a lot. I'll say, great job on that. Make sure you're capitalizing, adding punctuation. And this is just one of the many ways, like I said, that we have access to applications for our students. So we appreciate all of your support in iPads in the classroom, and I promise you it's going to make a huge difference in these students' lives, and it's going to create wonderful, wonderful people for the workplace in the near future. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I am Sheila West. I'm here from Northwest Elementary, and to help me show you how we use iPads for learning in our classroom, I have Shakira Rivera, if you'll come forward. And she's going to, the first slide. The first slide. Where did it get? That's okay.
We can pull ones up and log out.
Okay. Well, Shakira, we've got the reflector on if you want to go ahead and get on, and then you can just go ahead and show them. The first thing, we had a slide, okay. We had a slide show that, the first slide really showed our discussion board that we use through schoolrack.com, which is a website. Well, I'll let Shakira finish telling you about that.
Hello, my name is Shakira Rivera, and I will be talking about the discussion board on School Rack. And well, first I'll tell you what School Rack is. It's a site where you can go, your parents can make an account. Also, they you can see your homework, write down your homework for the week. Parents can also see all week for lessons like, what is your student learning in math? What is your student learning in reading? What is your student learning in vocabulary? Well, instead of calling the teacher and asking them that, it's right on this website. Well, yesterday we had our didgeridoo performance, and everyone in this web creates a topic, and we have to sign on to it. So all the kids in our class did. This is mine. I liked it. It was fun. I learned that the Tasmanian tiger and a couple of years ago. I also learned that monkeys are not in Australia. And we go to announcements, like if we have, it says like did you performance, which was last year. School pictures, which was today. Valentine's Day party, which is on Friday. And it just tells you the websites that we're on, how to use Study Island, how to use all the different websites that we're on. And it's a good way for the teachers to communicate with parents and show them what to do for them.
Good job, Thank you for that. Ignite is here to show us about the accelerated reading and math that we do with our iPads.
I'm Andrew McKnight, and I came from Northwest, and I'm going to show you about Accelerated Reader. Accelerated Reader and Accelerated Math is what we do when you want, like, Accelerated Reader is when you read a book and then you can go into it and take a quiz. And so you would just look up your book, like maybe blue, and then you would see it. And the level is 4.9. That means it's 4th grade, 9 months into the year. And the points is 7 points. The points is really based on how big the book is. If it's a really big book, it's going to be more points than a little picture book. And then there's Accelerated Math, which is basically just math. You can go into a practice, and you can do a practice online rather than on your paper. You can still do it on paper. We still do tests on paper, but it's a lot better to do it on an iPad because when you do it on paper, once you mark your answer, you have to bubble it in the scan sheet, and then you'd have to code and scan it, and you have to wait in line for that, and then and also if you make a straight mark, maybe instead of A, you pick B, but there's a straight mark on A, it might mark A. So it decreases the problem of that. And also, you can get books by going on to iBooks, which is like really like the App Store or iTunes Store, but just with books. And then some cost money and some are free. So we can only get the free books right now. And then there's Overdrive, which is like an online library. You can go into the Lower County Public Schools library and get the books that are on here. There's not all the books in the library because this just came and they haven't put all the books on there. Also, there is Edge of Creation.
Coach K.
So instead of doing it on paper, you can do it on the iPad. So you can write, or you could type, or add a picture, and that's really very good. Leaderboard is basically a friendly competition to see who can earn the most AR points or the most math objectives from the Thursday until next Thursday. So basically what it is like we have sorry at math and we sorry at reader, like Andrew said, but sorry at math who has the most objectives that week, then sorry at reader, we have to have it who most week because Andrew over here has 500 points. Nobody's gonna catch that. So, one of the other things we have up here is called Sundog. What it basically is a math game site. You can put reading topics, but what you do, you can create your character, you build up points to be a larger animal, and the more points you get, the better animal you can be, right? So, then the game part, you can play people around the world, you can play the robots, or you can play people in your class. That's where the fun part begins. And then you can choose the games, all the games, or you can change your topic to anything you want, and it'll tell you how many you have correct today, and then it'll start over every day. And at the end of the week, after the Thursday time period, then whoever has the most correct answers during the week will be on the leaderboard for Sundog.
What other sites do we use the leaderboard for?
We use it for Steady Island and Straight Eggs.
And 10 marks.
And 10 marks. So yeah.
Very good. And what do you earn when you're on the leaderboard?
You're in a homework pass. That's what most people do. Very good.
I'm using lots of different websites and just enjoying it because the students can be, with the competition of the leaderboard, it encourages them in their spare time to get on those websites and practice those skills in a fun way. And then the competition just kind of increases their engagement on their time on task as well. I do have one more app that I wanted to show you. So if you three would come, Shakira, Nicholas, and Andrew, if you'll come. And another app that we have on the iPad is called Big. And initially when we got the iPads, I thought, this is sort of primary. I don't know that I'm going to use this. Well, I ended up really loving it because when you teach a new skill, it's difficult to go around to everyone's desk and monitor who has the right answer. And back in the day, I would get maintenance to go and cut shower board squares for me, and I'd have expo markers, and so the students could write their answer to, let's say, a math problem, and then I'd say show, and they'd turn and show their whiteboard, and it was really cool, and the students really enjoyed that. But we found with Big, we can do the same thing without having to worry about the hassle of all the markers and the erasers and things of that nature. And this is a great way for teachers to informally and quickly assess how students are grasping material. For example, in math, we're covering measurement right now. And so I might say, how many inches are in 5 feet? 1, 2, 3, show. And that's a way for me to quickly see if they're grasping the material. So I really enjoyed that app as well, but we do appreciate your providing the iPads for our students. They are so excited. The day that we got them in our class, I could only compare to Christmas morning. And it was just wonderful, and we are finding new things to do with them every day, ever learning. So thank you very much.
I think you realize two things are true. We have amazing students, first of all. Secondly, school has changed. I don't think I could do that when I was in elementary school. I don't know about you guys. Thank you, teachers, and thank you, students, for coming out and sharing with us what you're able to do with what we've provided you. Okay, now try to follow that, guys.
Let me say this. While that's setting up, let me say this. If you want to see what's going on in the schools, that was a perfect example. Not the grades that were published, but this is more of an accurate depiction of what's going on in our schools. So I would just challenge everybody to go into the schools and see what's going on.
I'm sorry, we're not nearly as smart, cute, or charming. But we do have a brief presentation for you on some STEM summer camps that we are trying to schedule for the summer. It's very exciting. We wanted to share it with you. I'm Frances Herring, and I'm the principal of Continue Savannah K School.
And I'm Becky Hines. I am a first-year teacher at Continue Savannah in science, teaching 6 through 8, and some STEM and biotechnology courses. Yes. So we want to start with
Let me give a little intro first. It's wonderful to be a leader when good people just come to you and bring the ideas that make you look good. So that's really what you're going to hear today. Of course, Continue Savannah was declared one of the state's first 13 STEM schools. And they were toying with trying to figure out how they would continue STEM during the summer and offer students some opportunities. And so all of a sudden the light bulb went off and they came to me and said, we'd like to do this for the entire county. We'd like to provide things that we think that kids of many different ages, many different activities can come and experience STEM education during the summer in a fun way. And so I said, that's pretty much about the most awesome idea I've ever heard. And I'd like for you to come and tell the board about it. So that's why they're here.
So we have a, thank you, Jarvis. We have a brief iMovie that we made that we'd like to share with you. Vision for our STEM summer camps is to provide stimulating and exciting hands-on activities to expand young minds year-round in Lenoir County. We've been fortunate enough to work in collaboration with Lenoir Community College, thank you, Kristen, and Gear Up. What we found when we started planning STEM summer camps is there's great opportunities all over the district all the time, but we don't come together at the table to offer it to the community in an organized, efficient, one-stop shop location. And so that's what we've done. We've brought everybody to the table. We have a committee, and we've met several times already to plan and hash out and get the details and the nitty-gritty of the camps worked out. We have several objectives that we just want to cover with you very quickly. The parent-focused objectives are these. We want to provide a summer experience that is safe for your child, that is affordable, that is academically focused, that is character building, and that is STEM themed.
For our students, we want to provide a summer experience that is exciting, inclusive, hands-on, thought-provoking, and fun, so that it's not a classroom setup. When they come with us each day at summer camp, they're excited to be there, and they're going to leave knowing something they didn't know when they came, or better understanding a concept that maybe they didn't understand that well last year in class. Our teacher focus is to provide a summer experience that gives them resources. We'll have all kinds of resources from lots of places that are coming together to make this camp happen. And that'll be a wonderful opportunity to take those resources back to their classrooms next year. Also, a stress-free environment where we're not worried about testing and grades or a report card. Just teach what we love to do every day, just teach. Networking opportunities so that teachers from other schools can get together and learn what they do really great at their school and what we can share lots of ideas just to make the whole district a better place to work and be. And then just to teach, do what we love. And then the district focus objectives is to provide a summer experience that has rigor, year-long learning, so that, you know, when they leave us for the summertime, their brains shut off. Hopefully we'll be able to turn them back on a little bit. Bridging the gap for those kids who maybe passed their grade but still need some help putting together some standards and some topics with those hands-on activities to cement those learning objectives. And then, of course, teacher training, because we'll have our teachers exposed to all different types of resources and opportunities that they wouldn't get outside, you know, just in the classroom.
This is just a typical day. It's not written in stone, but it's giving us a framework from which to start. When we went to Dr. Mazingo to pitch our idea about the STEM summer camps, one of the things we knew was going to have to happen so it would be successful and so that the whole district could be involved is if we had some transportation options. And so Dr. Mazingo suggested to us that we could do like a pickup in each one of the districts. And so there'd be one central location. There might be a bus at Pink Hill. There might be a bus at Woodington. There might be a bus at Northeast. But we have central locations for parents to drop their children off at the bus stop, and then the buses would transport the children to Contiguous Savannah. We're going to provide breakfast and lunch. We're going to be a feeding program for the county. So we're working with Pam Smith, the Director of Nutrition, on that. So we'll come in about 8:30 for breakfast and registration. The programs will begin approximately 9 o'clock. We'll break for lunch. The programming will continue after lunch, and then the students will leave at 3 o'clock for drop-off location or parent pickup. If, however, 3 o'clock is really a terrible time for a parent, because I know I don't get off work at 3, okay? I'm not getting off at 3. So we want to provide an opportunity for parents to be able to have their children stay with us until 5:30, which is more flexible. It's more parent-friendly and family-friendly. So we would offer some, for a slight additional charge, the kids could stay longer. The programming is what is so exciting. I was contacted several months ago because of our status as a STEM recognized school in North Carolina by Camp Illuminate, which offers very, very exciting, energetic, well-vetted summer experiences for students in big metropolitan areas, like Raleigh. And they offer this coming summer, they're going to have 7 of their camps at NC State, and they had them last summer. And I was so excited when she called, because I had tried to figure out a way to get my daughter to the camp last summer at NC State to Camp Illuminate, and I just couldn't figure it out. It was too hard. But guess what? We get to offer them at Contiguous Savannah. So they contacted us because of our STEM recognition, so that they could offer a site in eastern North Carolina. So when we have, so that's one of the programming, organizations we're going to be working with. We're also working with the Time for Science. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them or not, but it's a really fabulous location. 12 minutes from Contiguous Savannah. It's just over the Pitt County line. And it is 400 acres of property, and they have fabulous programming, science programming, and STEM-centered programming for students. And children go there for field trips all the time. And we've met with their executive director, and we've worked out a plan so that we can rotate students in and out of the Time for Science. We'll have on-site workshops. We're going to have, I'm drawing a blank.
The pre and post activities, so that when the children come in the morning, we'll have something for them to do to kind of get their brains ramped up for what they're about to do that day. And then when for specifically the ones that go to a Time for Science, when they come back, then we'll have a post activity, something they can take home to kind of engage them a little more while they're home over the next couple days. And then when they come back to us, we'll find out, okay, what happened with your post activity, and then we'll start with a new pre-activity to go along.
And with some of the on-site workshops, we'll be doing Science Olympiad. And so we're going to be offering several different types of workshops that are short, like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 days. And so that's going to be really exciting and offer a lot of variety. At Contiguous Savannah, we also have Project DIG, which stands for Discover, Investigate, and Grow. It grew out of our school improvement team and our relationship with the Lenore County Obesity Task Force. And so we have a really unique opportunity to have students learn in the gardens. We have about 25 raised garden beds. And so the students are able to go and do science and math lessons in the gardens. And so what is wonderful is we usually have lots and lots of tomatoes in the summer. Now we've got children that will help us pick them and eat them. The summer camps will include robotics, Tech Savvy Girls, Invention Project and Camp Illuminate, Science Fair Prep, the World's Food Supply, Science Olympiad, Introduction to STEM, and the K-8 Standards in Science, Math, History, and Reading.
Ms. Marion referenced about transportation, but there will be pick-up and drop-off locations district-wide so that every student will have access. The parents get to choose their location, so I may live in Pink Hill, but it would be better for me to drop my child off at Woodington for whatever reason, a little bit later in the morning at 7:45, so I'm a little closer to my workplace when I drop my child off. So they will have, or they'll be able to drop them off directly to us at Contiguous Savannah. And then, of course, the after-camp care, so that those parents who don't get off until 5 o'clock have that option for their kids to be somewhere that's safe and still keeping the rigor going and having activities for them in the afternoon instead of just maybe going home and not doing a whole lot for the rest of the day. The other part is the nutrition, because with the summer feeding program, we'll be able to offer all of the children that attend camps breakfast and lunch, and then the ones who stay in the afternoon and after camp care snacks. So that's a really great opportunity for us to make sure that our children are eating during the summer. If they don't have any other means of transportation to a feeding point, now they will. Funding, of course, that's the question everybody says, how are you going to pay for this? And we have reached out to Lenore County Economic Development as well as STEM East to help us to get some funding. Of course, we're going to call on our community supporters to help get these children into the programs, because we know that every child can't afford it. And our goal is to service those children that typically wouldn't be able to afford to go to summer camp. Grants, we've been working on a lot of grants. Unfortunately, the idea came a little late for this summer's grant cycle. So we're in the mix of trying to start grant writing for next summer. But for this summer, we're a little short on grants. And of course, in-kind gifts, and we always have the option to student pay. So those are some of the ways we're coming at the funding.
And we're at the end. I'm sure there's questions.
How do you qualify for?
First come, first serve. So there's actually one of the camps that we like to offer. It's 1 day a week for 6 weeks. And it's first grade through 8th grade. And it will fit about 20 students from each of the schools, elementary and middle schools. And what we're going to ask is for the principals to recommend those first 20 children, if there are children that they think really would benefit from having some focused, stimulated academic activity over the summer. Maybe some children that didn't grow as much as we wanted them to on the end of grade testing, that sort of thing. Those children that really need an extra push. So we're going to have some principals do some recommendations. But other than that, it's going to be first come, first serve. And so that's hopefully will be an incentive for everyone to get their applications in so that we can plan.
So how many kids are y'all thinking about?
1,300 is what we've estimated.
How many?
1,300. That's just being in the classroom.
But excuse me,
I know, technically,
Well, if you think about it, each camp runs individually. So it's not 1,300 at one time.
okay, what I'm thinking in terms of is your teacher to student ratio at 1,300. How many staff are you talking about?
10 to 1.
10 to 1.
Will they all be teachers?
Some will and some won't. We're hoping for like the after-school time, after the hour and a half at the end of the day from 3 to 5, or that we're hoping to be able to hire maybe some high school students or some college students to come and help with that time after school, maybe after the camp. But we're hoping to hire as many teachers as we can, and that's what we've planned for our certified teachers. And we'll have to hire bus drivers. I mean, they're gonna have buses.
So the different camps have different prices.
They do. Different camps have different prices. And one of the things that we've been working so diligently on is finding funds that will decrease that for people. Like Becky mentioned, we were a little behind the 8 ball this year for this year's grant cycle. But we have applied for many grants actually. Probably about $23,000 worth already. We just haven't heard back from them. One of the things we're going to talk about in the principals meeting on Thursday when we present to the principals is we all, as principals, we know our communities, and we know the families in the communities, and the industry, and the businesses in our communities, and the church families in our communities. And so if we have a child or several children that we know want to go to camp and aren't able, if it's a camp that does cost, that we'll reach out to the community and the districts where we serve and see if we can find donations and, send a kid to camp.
So how many different camps will you have?
We have about 10 or 12.
There's the camp that the robotics and the tech savvy District Worldwide is going to head up for us. And the Invention Project and Camp Illuminate is what Ms. Herring was talking about, which is the big ones that are in Raleigh every year. And that'll run 2 different weeks. And robotics will run for about 3 weeks. Tech savvy girls will run 2 weeks. 1 each for Camp Illuminate and 1 for Invention Project, unless we have that many students that register. That's going to be the most expensive one because we don't control that expense.
Which one is that?
The Invention Project and the Camp Illuminate.
That's one out of Raleigh.
And then the science fair prep, we have a severe need to get our kids more prepared for science fair. We have our kids who win, and then they say, we don't feel prepared to go to the state level, or as a science teacher, we don't have as much time to work with those children as we'd like to get quality programs. So there will be actually science fair prep for 3 to 5 and 6 to 8 because the grading rubrics are different. The world's food supply is one that I'm really passionate about, being an ag person, about biotechnology. Where's our water going to come from? Where are we going to feed 9 billion people in 2050 if we keep doing what we're doing? Science Olympiad, we've got a team for that. But we don't have a lot of participation in the county, and it's because it's a lot of work. It costs money. But Richie Honeycutt at LCC is the regional coordinator, and she has reached out and offered to help us get prepared for that and have a camp so that each of the middle schools and then any of the elementary schools that want to participate next year can at least have some resources to be able to start. The Introduction to STEM is one that we actually met with LCC today about trying to house about 100 kids the week after school gets out and expose them to every bit of science, technology, engineering, math that we can in 4 days at LCC's campus. And then the K-8 standards, it's just making sure that everything we do from the moment they walk in the door to the moment they leave is useful in some way to them, so that when they come back to school, they'll know more than when they left.
And that's the 1 day a week camp, so the child will come 1 day a week for 6 weeks for that experience.
I have a question for Ms. Hines.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. I heard you say something when you first started. You said you're a first-year teacher. And I've known you socially through some of our civic organizations. I've known your father my entire life. Why did you go into teaching?
Well, I'm gonna cry because I've worked corporate America, private industry for about 12 years, and there's not always a time very fulfilling. Always, you finance somebody's house, and that's wonderful because tomorrow they're gonna have a new place to live that they didn't have, and that's their dream. But I decided to move back to Kinston, and what better place? And I had emailed Ms. Robertson and said, I think I'm going to teach. And the next morning she was like, well, great, we'll get you somewhere. And I mean, God has a plan. And the door opened at Continue Savannah within 3 or 4 hours, and I was there and had a job. And so I consider it a supreme opportunity to be able to take what I've learned in my 12 years before coming here as a really an opportunity to take what I've learned and share it with our children.
Thank you.
And people look at me like I'm crazy, but you know, when Chris says this is what you'll make, I'm like, but you know, every day I leave learning something new every day, and it's a joy. And I think this is just in what I see, or I've always thought, is we're missing something for those kids in the summer. And if we can find some funds somewhere so that those kids who normally wouldn't go to camp can expound on what they have and have that person that believes in them to be better and do better. I mean, I think it would be so amazing for our district, and we wouldn't have to worry about our report card anymore.
This is the kind of things we want to do for children, no question about that. And there's some unanswered questions, okay? They're in the planning stage, but this was so exciting. I wanted you guys to hear it. I wanted the community to hear it and be ready for these things when they come out. So I know when my children were smaller, we were always looking for things in the summer for them to do. I think every parent looks for those quality activities. These are going to be very, very high quality activities in the summer and fun at the same time.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is some new policies. Dr. Mazinga.
So I get to follow everything so far with two really exciting policies. The first one is mandated by the State Board of Education. We are required to adopt policy on workers' compensation loss prevention and to file a copy of that policy with DPI's insurance section. What you have is the North Carolina School Boards Association recommended policy, heavily edited by Tharrington and Smith. And since we have our attorney here, she can perhaps answer questions about their recommendations. Of course, we do rely on them to look at the policies before they come to you after we've looked at them administratively. This is a new policy, as I said, mandated. It's the first reading because it's a new policy. Certainly invite any questions tonight you might have about it. But you have a month, or really about 3 weeks this time, to look at that, answer, ask me questions. Carolyn can respond tonight or later if you wanted to. So however you feel about this policy. The second policy is the EpiPen policy, basically. It's emergency epinephrine auto-injection devices and how we're planning to comply with the state law concerning providing those and training for the people that use those in emergencies. Again, any questions you have, we'll see if we can address those, that you have some time to look at these and ask the questions. We'll bring them back to you for a second reading at the next meeting.
Is there any questions for Ms. Waller on the policies at this point? You're always free to give her a call.
You know where to find me.
Just keep it short.
Well, let me say on the one policy,
There you go.
the School Boards Association does a wonderful job with their policy updates, and they manage almost all of your policies. There are a few policies that come across, either revisions or new policies that come across that we do edit for you. This is a policy, because it's a new policy, that came to our attention from some other of our boards that we work with. There was a few things that we just wanted to hit upon. One was there was decisions that were being made in the policy that was being recommended by the School Boards Association by these committees. And we felt it's important to keep the control within the superintendent so that recommendations are being made on the protocols from the Workers' Comp Committee to the superintendent, but the superintendent would have the authority to make decisions about that. So we thought that made more sense to centralize it in the central office. There's a couple of the things we wanted to keep some flexibility built in, so there was a couple things that we felt in practice needed a little bit more flexibility than how the policy is written. There were some hazards in the way that it was written in the School Boards Association policy, that the hazards needed to be removed. But the reality is a lot of our districts have very old buildings and old structures, and not all hazards can be completely removed. So we changed the policy. It's still in compliance with the new statutory requirements, but it does have not only just eliminating the policies, but other avenues of mitigating the hazards minimizing the risk in other ways, because sometimes they just can't be eliminated. Certain types of staircases and so on and so forth would just be impossible to mitigate all things. And then the final thing that we really changed in that policy was they had a section that required you to establish some record-keeping procedures. Not that that's not a good idea, but it's not statutorily mandated, so we thought, this made sense for you all to go ahead and live with this policy and see how it works, and then make a decision as a board as to whether that's something you want to do, but it wasn't something that was statutorily required. So that's the first policy. The second policy, which has to do with epinephrines, was, you may recall that in the session recently, the legislature has now required that every school have epinephrines on site that you're able to use in case someone has an allergic reaction. Not somebody who you already know and you have a plan, a healthcare plan, but just anybody who's visiting or any student on your campus may have an allergic reaction, and you're required to have EpiPens on campus and have people trained on how to use them. So this is a policy that's being drafted to be in compliance with that.
So if I can just clarify, the version we have here is the School Boards Association version, and the lines through are provided by Tharrington Smith.
That's right, that's correct.
We'll certainly take a look at those. Any other questions for Ms. Waller at this point? Next item is the financial report. Ms. Davis.
I'm glad you helped me.
She's ready.
So mine, it's not the most boring. Okay, the financial
I think I resent that.
The financial report reflects the year-to-date activity by providing revenue and expenditure information as to all the sources of funds received and expended by fund and purpose as of January 31st, 2015. May I answer any questions?
Giselle, we taken out everything that we were going to, the monies that we were going to take out of the fund balance? Have all of those been removed now? Or, the expenses that we were going to take out of the fund balance? We had talked about removing some money from the fund balance. Has that been removed?
Well, that was already budgeted. That the fund balance appropriation, it was already budgeted. So we probably used a little bit of it so far.
No, I noticed it's right around
Yes.
4 million, so. So
It's,
we're that good right now.
yeah, we're good. We may, by the end of June, we'll probably use a little bit more.
It should say somewhere close to
Yeah.
where we were last year, about 3.8. So somewhere in that range would be my guess when everything is done. So we're maintaining as we had planned to do.
Okay. But this is about where we want to be at. And the reason I'm asking, we've heard about some programs that might need a little money.
Would you be talking about summer camp?
Okay. But that's where we need to be at, right? Okay.
Any other questions for Ms. Davis tonight? Thank you, Ms. Davis. Next item is moving to the action agenda, the 2014-2015 audit contract. Also, Ms. Davis.
Okay, this contract will renew the audit services for Bear Parish and Davenport audit firm for the 2014-15 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Anderson to approve the audit contract. Do we have a second at this point?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion concerning the audit contract? Specifically, Ms. Davis, have y'all been satisfied with the services of the auditors?
Oh, well, they definitely go into details.
They give us a good thorough audit. There's no question about that.
And that's what we want.
Is that a yes?
It's good and bad. Any other discussion about the audit contract or questions before we call it for a vote? Then all in favor of approving the audit contract for 2014-2015, raise your right hand. Then the audit contract is approved. Thank you, Ms. Davis. The next item is the School System Improvement Task Force, the high school subcommittee presentation. I don't know if
Okay.
Dr. Mazingo wants to introduce.
Yes, I recognize Holly Ball and Dr. Deborah Grimes. Holly is our secondary coordinator for here in the district, and Dr. Deborah Grimes is Vice President of Academic Student Services for Lenore Community College. They have been working together on one of the School System Improvement Task Force to come up with some career pathways to present to our students. They presented this to the task force committee at our meeting in January. I asked them to come and present it to you tonight. What you're going to see is the start of this. They have done some excellent work that can already be shared with our students. This is the kind of documents that will be revised and will be added to as we go down the road. But we are at a point where we're ready for the ones that are being shown to you tonight to be used. So what I'm asking you as a board is to look at this and to endorse this process of using career pathways with our students, but at the same time leave us the flexibility to adjust and add to and continue refining this process as we go down the road. Registration's coming up, as you know, in the high schools and middle schools, and we'd like to be able to use these with our students because it's going to be pretty exciting for them to be able to look at how they can accomplish a career and how they can get so many college credits while they're in high school. So I think, Holly, you're still having trouble with your voice?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. So Dr. Deborah Grimes is probably going to have to do most of the talking. If you know her, that's no problem whatsoever. I'll turn it over to the two of them.
I don't have a video, and we don't have an iPad, but it is very true what Dr. Mazingo stated earlier, and that is a lot of new and wonderful things coming to Lenore County Public Schools. As he told you, we are the co-chairs for the high school subcommittee, and so I want to kind of bring you up to speed. And by doing that, I'll tell you that the high school subcommittee had 2 goals, and the numbers were Goal 2 and Goal 3. And if you look at Goal 2, it says Lenore County Public School students will all have the opportunity to complete 2 years of college work while in high school. Goal 3, Lenore County Public School students will enter into the 9th grade ready to complete their core high school classes within the first 5 semesters of high school. So remember, there was another Lenore County Public School Task Force. This was the 2 goals that we had for this past year. We worked on these goals during the summer and the fall with the approval of the entire task force. The recommendations that were presented and were approved in May 2014, one was to consider a recommendation for the middle school committee, and they were responsible for goals 4 and 5, to incorporate career exploration in the middle schools to advance students' transition to high school and get them prepared to choose a program of study or pathway. And we'll show you some examples of those pathways in a few minutes. The next thing that we recommended and was approved was to consider the following curriculum standards and pathways to provide all students the opportunity to complete 2 years of college work in high school. So with that, these were the areas that we looked at initially and we got approval for. And that was agriculture, food, natural resources, business and industry, cultural arts and fine arts, health sciences, public safety, and STEM. So while we offer the range at the community college, what we wanted to do was to be able to use the career and technical education programs that you already have in your high school programs to work with our college programs. So our progress to date is we reviewed the curriculum standards and the pathways. We reviewed the career and technical education for the 16 career clusters that the high school currently uses. We reviewed the North Carolina Community College System, combined course library, and for that reason we look at prerequisites for students taking actual courses, what the course descriptions are, what courses that we offer at the college, and then we also look at the curriculum standards and the programs of study so that we can develop these pathways for Lenore County school students. And lastly, we reviewed the Department of Labor and NCWork.gov's labor market projections to determine future demand for occupations. By doing this, it changed the pathways that we were looking at, or the careers that we were looking at initially. So then we got to these curriculum standards and pathways. We are asking this year, as part of our goal, and that is to continue to look at these and edit, add, or change any, once we get input from all the counselors and the principals and possibly this board, we may change the pathways that we have currently. Right now, we're looking at agriculture, food and natural resources, business and industry, cultural arts and fine arts, health sciences, public safety, and those were the ones that we were going to look at, and you see beside those are the ones that we've actually written pathways for. Agriculture, food and natural resources, business and industry, general education, and the reason for that is many things will fall under the transfer program, and remember that we have to work within the North Carolina Community College system and Department of Public Instruction's responsibility for, and the UNC system with their North Carolina Community College articulation agreement. So last year, they implemented only 2 transfer programs, and that is Associate in Art and Associate in Science. So we no longer have all that list of pre-programs like if you want to be a PE teacher or a health teacher or a history teacher or a math teacher. If you're going to be a teacher, then you would take the general education, and part of your electives, you would specify which kind of courses you'd like to go in. And then lastly, health sciences, which covers a wide range of careers. So we want to show you an example of a pathway, and I think we're going to show 1 or 2. This is actually a career in technical education, because what you want to remember is, when we looked at this, we thought about a plan that every student, when they walk across the stage at graduation, that they have a plan, right, Dr. Mazzino?
That's right.
And so with that, students may choose to go to work. This offers them the opportunity to have some skills under their belt, and we're going to show you how we incorporated that with this career pathway. And you'll also see that for career and technical education, there's another articulated credit with the community college system and high schools in North Carolina, where they take classes and then they receive college credit for the classes that they took in high school. So we also show that on this pathway. And while we won't tell you everything about the pathway, we will show you that if you look up here, 9th and 10th grade, that's where they will front load high school courses. So you'll get all the high school requirements there. If you look on the side, you'll see grade. That is when there were any CTE courses that they could take in their 16 career clusters that follow these pathways. You will see that there. You won't see them for every pathway, but most pathways you will. And then when you get to the 11th and 12th grade, you'll see this template shows lots of college courses. So there's lots of things that we had to take in mind. We had to think about not only that articulated credit, we had to look at the way that we sequence the courses in the 11th grade to go along with the courses in the spring semester of the 11th grade and then to the 12th grade to make sure that the students had met their eligibility, met their prerequisites for one course that moves on into another higher course. So there's lots of those things going on here. You'll also see once in a while that placement is required, which means, is that what that saying is? Placement assessment is required, meaning there's a certain level that the student must meet, not our requirements, but either through the North Carolina Community College system state requirements or through the Career and College Promise requirement. So the next part of this template you'll see, and again, this is a CTE pathway. You'll see on the left side, well, first the blue box at the top. This is what, if a student wanted to complete a degree or diploma or a certificate, maybe they were moving a little bit slower than our plan for them, then this shows if they're on the right track then here is what they would need their 13th year, meaning the year that they left high school and went to college. They could complete it, a lot of times it's like 11 or 12 hours is all that they would have left. So it's wonderful for the pocketbooks of their parents. It's wonderful for the students because they're on their career path, they have some skills in their tool belt now that they could use, or if they have certain types of certificates, they could go straight to work. So on the left side of the yellow box, you'll see where the students have the opportunity to achieve, and we listed out, not only could they achieve in this one their high school diploma, but you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 certificates, the opportunity. Actually in this one, a third-party certification from NIMS, and then they have the opportunity within that 4 years of high school to receive 37 semester hours credit towards an associate in applied science degree in computer integrated machining. And then complete their associate in applied science degree in computer integrated machining technology within 1 year after graduation. That's a whole lot said for a student and what they can do with this, with their skills and their certifications once they leave the high school. We also added, and this was 2 other people served on our committee writing the pathways before we took it back to our subcommittee, and that is Dean Gary Clements. He's our Dean of Business, Industry, and Emerging Technologies. And we also had Athena Wilson. She's our Early College High School liaison for Lenore County Schools, and she's also our high school coordinator for college programs. And we added the occupation side here, so the students will know if they're looking at this pathway and they're thinking they want to go into this career, this gives them a little bit more information. Also added at the bottom an average salary, and that's why it was so important for us to use the laborer statistics. Department of Labor Statistics, thank you. And so it helps the student to kind of narrow the focus. One thing that we do with our students in our, especially our career and technical education programs, and for our basic skills students when they're transferring over to curriculum at college, and that is showing them simply Indeed.com. And that is a website that tells anybody, if you're looking for a job, how much it pays. It's in real time. It tells you how long it's been posted, what the qualifications are. So we use that, and I think it'll be a great tool for us to use with counselors and students. Our next pathway we're going to show you real quickly is the general education. So this would be a pathway if a student knew that they were going to go straight to, let's say, Chapel Hill Pharmacy School or Campbell Pharmacy School, or they wanted to go into science, or maybe they wanted to transfer to LCC in the 2+2 engineering and then transfer to one of the 5 UNC schools for engineering. This would be the pathway that they would take. This is the associate in science pathway. Again, at the top, we front-loaded the high school courses, and then the 11th and 12th grade are the college courses to get Gen Ed. There is no better deal than this template right here and plan for students who are wishing to get maybe a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree. On the next slide.
One thing. And on this pathway, when you're talking about the college courses, it's really important for students to really know that these college courses are what they call universal general education transfer courses, which means they will transfer to any 16 UNC system school, no questions asked whatsoever.
Again, if the student wanted to complete their associate degree, they would only have 11 hours needed if they finished their plan, as you saw earlier, for those 4 years. And here you'll see in the yellow box again, students may have the opportunity to achieve the following: 50 semesters of a 61-hour associate degree, which is wonderful. The pre-major of interest, we just put a few of those. If somebody was wanting to go into biology education, chemistry and chemistry education, engineering, mathematics, nursing, and again, pharmacy and those kind of programs. As Holly has said, the North Carolina Community College Articulation Agreement through GPI and the UNC system. And you can go to any college, and we show this to students all the time that are wanting to transfer. We look at transfer equivalency, making sure that our courses are equivalent to the UNC system schools. And if they finish their 61 hours, the associate degree, then they will get all 61 hours when they transfer. And for these courses up here, let's say they've got 48 hours, those 48 hours would transfer to any of the 16, 17 UNC system schools.
The bottom line, parents are paying for about 2 years of college education instead of 4.
Yeah, but the question I had was, supposing a child decides that he's just going to be a welder, does he still have to get he still gets all the courses that he needs if he decides later that he wants to go to to 4-year college? He still can do that, can he? Or is he limiting himself?
Are you asking during the time he's in high school?
Right.
Okay, so if he's in high school, we have to work through all this, but it's a great question because there's several tracks with Career and College Promise. A student can actually be in a CTE program and a transfer program at the same time. Or, let's say he wants to do machining and welding. So we will be able to individualize for a student. So once they start down that track, does not mean that they have to stay on that track. We can move it around. And that is one of the biggest things that North Carolina's looking at right now are tracks, and for students to be able to get off that track and get on another track anytime that they are ready to do so.
And to answer your question more directly, they're going to get all of the courses that are required for high school graduation. They may not have all the college transfer courses they want to go to NC State instead of being a welder, but they're going to have that high school education the same as they would have if they had not taken those courses. And we know students are going to change their mind. Honestly, what we're trying to do is just show them that we can get you somewhere you want to go. And if you make the choice to work hard in high school, you're going to be able to do what you want to do. That's because we have a lot of students that show up right now in the 9th grade and really don't have a path in mind or a plan in mind and don't have anything other than, what am I doing here and what am I doing now? We're trying to get them in middle school to realize that high school is important. Here is what you can accomplish, and there are many different things you can accomplish. They're not all that much difference in those first 2 years in the pathways. Those are basic high school courses. We're just trying to trick them into doing well in them. Very honestly, just to be honest about what it is. Because there's something beyond that they can do, whether it's welding or whether it's getting college credit to go to a 4-year college. And they can change their mind at any time and switch over.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that,
we're not tracking them into something, there's no way.
Limited yourself to just that. Okay.
And so from there, we actually created 14 career pathways. And these are the career pathways that we have created so far. Again, these career pathways can possibly change from year to year. Some might stay the same, some might change. Some of them all of them could stay the same. We could just keep adding more. It's just going to depend on looking at projections for labor in this area. Also, student interest. What are the students really interested in? What do they want to do? So all of this will keep changing. It's not set in stone at all.
Basically, what we've done is try to take the best that we could offer in high school and the best that our community college could offer and put together a package for students that will get them somewhere they want to go faster than they ever thought possible, quite honestly. And we really worked on the early college model to do this, to see how we can get students going and get them into college work much faster, and how we can honestly save the parents and the students some money. One of the big problems we have are students with big loans now in college. So if we can get a lot of that out of the way, some of that goes away, quite frankly.
There's still a lot of planning to do. There's still a lot of input that we need to get and work with the folks in Lenore County Public Schools, counselors and principals. We do think we're doing it right now, and they're coming to us and saying we want this for our students, and we're really, really excited about that. But in summary, when we've looked at the curriculum for standards and pathways, we looked at course requirements to complete a high school diploma. That was priority. Course and hour requirements for completion of a certificate, a diploma, or a degree, and those hours are based on the North Carolina Community College System and our Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges definitions. Opportunities to earn additional college credit with North Carolina High School to community college articulated credit. Opportunities to complete a certificate, diploma, or degree. Job opportunities for credentials earned and hourly and yearly potential earnings. And I think when students see that, just like when we showed them in Indeed.com, I mean, you can see their eyes pop up, and when they actually think, now I may be able to get a certificate and I may be able to get a job making this amount of money, it really does make a difference, and it really does show them the relativity to all of this. And then lastly, opportunities to earn transferable credit to any North Carolina community college or UNC system school. And just tooting our own horn at the college, and that is, students take these classes in Career and College Promise. They pass that class, they get the credit on their transcript. Said and done. And of course, for it to transfer to a UNC system school, they need a grade of C or better.
Okay. Again, what I'd like to do tonight is vote to endorse this process of using career pathways with our students to try to get them excited about what they're doing in their high school, and also to try to get them to understand what's possible out there in terms of getting college credits, or even working towards some career that they really think they want to pursue. And again, they're kids, they're going to change their mind, but that's all right, they can do that. These will be very flexible, and they can move from one to another, and they're all going to get a good, solid high school diploma at the end. So they're going to be prepared to do whatever they want. They might have taken some welding class that will not apply to what they're doing in college, but they can go if they want to.
So what's your date of implementation?
We'd like to start this spring with students, as we'd like it to be an option this spring for students to embrace. Eventually, we'd like to get to the point where we'd have every student to make some kind of choice, have some kind of plan when they go to high school. But we'll start making it available for students to use, for counselors to use with students this spring. We're working with the college. They're putting in college courses in our high schools at a rapid pace. So these are not all online classes. This year we did a lot with putting college instructors out in the high schools to teach these classes. That's gone very, very well. I think our first year of implementation has been pretty awesome. It's good for us, good for the kids, pretty good for the college too, isn't it, Dr. Rob? Okay.
I mean, I think it's huge that they can take classes and know those classes will transfer with no problem. And the other thing is we hear a lot about not being career ready when they graduate and being able to earn a certificate. I think that's huge. And they would make money right away if they don't want to go to college.
Yeah, I'll say, I think every one of our students needs to be on a path. I think your goal in high school right now cannot be just to get a diploma. You have to have a path and a mindset of what you're going to do beyond that diploma. I'll also tell you from my personal experience, I had a child who, took the IB course load. She took AP exams, which they're allowed to do as well. Got her IB diploma. We're very proud of her. But the credit she got in college was from her community college courses. And I think that's the way it's going in the future. And we're very thankful to have those hours, especially the person paying the bills is very happy to have those hours. And this will be a huge benefit to parents. And to imagine that you can go through high school and get 50 hours of college credit is just incredible. Every one of these kids gets the benefit of the early college program almost. Or at least a big portion of it. So we appreciate your hard work on this.
Motion to approve the use of the career pathways and allow modifications as needed.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Smith. Any further discussion of the career pathways? We'll call it for a vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Roberts. And we also thank Dr. Briley, who's with us today, for being here. Thank you. We look forward to working with you. Oh, wait, I'm off the agenda. Hold on. The next item on the agenda is the 2015-2016 Early College High School Instructional Calendar. Dr. Mazingo.
This may be the point where we really miss Ms. Lynch, who's our calendar guru. But we have Nick Harvey II, I believe, here with us, who knows very, very well why this calendar is put together the way it is and why it serves his children much better than the traditional calendar. They do have a different calendar. They are on the college campus. They're more tied to the college courses, and their needs differ from the regular school calendar. You have this. Any questions? I've asked Nick. Nick, if you'll step up here. He is of course, our principal serving those students, and he had, of course, a lot to do with how this calendar came out. I want to say a word about that.
This is our first year. This is a calendar that mirrors the LCC calendar. We thought it would be much beneficial for our calendar to mirror their calendar, and that's a reflection of what we have before you today. We're actually running the calendar similar to this year. Students have done very well. We take exams prior to Christmas, which I think every principal in here would like a schedule like that. It's something that our board has presented to Raleigh as hoping to have that flexibility, and that's the flexibility that we do have. So with your permission, we would like to continue with this calendar.
Just to let you know, the calendar still has 180 days. It has 1,025 instructional hours, which is over the requirement that the state has for us. So it certainly serves the children in that way.
Move to approve the early college high school calendar.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Anderson. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Calendar is approved. Thank you, Mr. Harvey.
Thank you.
Moving on, we have about, I don't want to scare people, but we've got about 30 revised policies that are the next item on the agenda.
There are 36. I thought I'd go through those in detail with you if you would like to do that. These are policies that we received, updated policies from our School Boards Association service. What we do when we receive those, we go through them administratively. Normally those are changes that have come about because of legislation, new laws, state board policy. We make sure that they are in line with the intention of the original policy and only represent those changes that are mandated. And we present them to you for action on the first reading, as our attorneys have said we could do that. But this board has some new members. If that's not the way you want to do business, we can do a first reading and a second reading. It's up to you. But these are kind of routine changes. It's much easier now with the school board service to keep policies up to date than it used to be in the old days when superintendents and board assistants used to have to do all that work. This is the much easier path that gives us time to review what's come across and what's mandated for us and keep our policy manual absolutely up to date for you. So these are your policies. They're just revised according to mandate by law or state board.
Carolyn, are you satisfied with these policies?
I have not reviewed these policies. These are these are policies. It's just the School Boards Association, you pay for their service, so all the legislative changes that come down, they make sure they do a complete review of the policy and the policy manuals they put together, and this is a service you all pay for. So I have not reviewed these policies specifically, so I
will
can't
tell you,
speak
she
to them.
told me today that they're very good at it and they're cheaper than they are.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All that being said, Mr. Chairman, I still think it's best that they be laid on the table.
Will you take that as a motion to table those policies for action at the next meeting, made by Mr. Anderson? Do we have a second on that motion to table?
Second that.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion about tabling? I think it's
Just for correct, I'm not asking that they be tabled, but that they sit on the table as stated in our policy for revisions, so that you have time to review them if you want to and look at them.
Fair enough.
So to clarify, you asking that they just be, they be held for consideration until the next meeting?
Yes, for a vote.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the motion? Then all in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, keep your right hand up.
If they want to review them, go.
I got 6 votes, 7 votes. The policies will be tabled for consideration in the next meeting. Moving on,
Before you move on, let me ask a question. Just so I'll clarify, is what the misunderstanding is. These are just policies that have been changed due to law, right, Carolyn?
Say that again.
Have been changed due to law, legislation. These policies are the ones that were changed due to the changes in legislation from this past legislative session, right?
That's largely what the
Yeah, that's what
changes
most of them are.
That's right.
Y'all have already been through them. Okay, and you've made the changes that you think.
They recommended the changes. We thought
Right.
we would review their changes.
And some of them are pretty basic changes. I mean, they're small
word
little
here,
changes.
word there.
That's right, right. And your policy is typically that any new policy is required to have 2 readings. Of any policy that's already in existence can be adopted or approved by the board on first reading. So when you see the first 2 policies that are new policies, those were put on as first reading. And then there's a whole bunch of these other ones that are revisions to your current ones. So,
Yeah.
And they
Clarify, your policy on adopting new policies does allow this.
It does, yes.
But it's up to you how you want to work, and it doesn't matter to me. You're the policy makers. So.
And we've already put it on the table.
It's been deferred for reconsideration for the next meeting.
Moving on to the next item, surplus property. Mr. Williams.
Thank you. As part of our continuing efforts to free up the very little available storage space that we have in the school system of equipment that is currently outdated, beyond use, damaged beyond repair, or simply cannot be used for whatever reason, tonight we are bringing forward a list of items for surplus from 3 of our departments, the Career and Technical Education Department, the Technology Department, and the Child Nutrition Department. We are asking that you declare all of these items surplus, with the items from the Career and Technical Education Department and the Technology Department to be scheduled for disposal, and the items from the Child Nutrition Department to be scheduled for sale, with the proceeds to go back to the Child Nutrition Department.
You never know, we might need a film strip projector again.
Or a typewriter.
Or a typewriter. Not sure you could get a ribbon for it.
Move to declare all CTE, child nutrition, technology items listed in this as surplus.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion concerning the surplus property? Then all in favor declaring this property surplus, raise your right hand. Property is now considered surplus. Last item on the action agenda is the out-of-state school trips. Assuming Mr. Williams is standing in.
Thank you. Whittington Middle School 6th graders are planning a trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on May 1st. This trip was actually previously submitted to you and approved, but it's being resubmitted due to a change in date. They're requesting the new date as May 8th, 2015. Pink Hill Elementary 5th graders are traveling to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on April 17th, 2015, and Frink Middle School 7th and 8th grade students are asking to go to Washington, D.C. on March 27th through the 29th, 2015.
Any questions for Mr. Williams on the out-of-state school trips that have been presented?
Motion to approve the out-of-state field trips as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Hill. Second by Mr. Nobles.
No.
Sorry, is it Mr. King down there? There he is. The second by Mr. King, my correction. Any further discussion on the trips? All in favor, raise your right hand. The trips are approved. Next item is a motion to go into closed session.
I move that Lenore County Board of Education go into closed session under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 to present the disclosure of confidential personnel files, to consult the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege, and to consider matters relating to the initial employment of an individual employee.
Motion made by Mr. Hill. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nobles. All in favor going into closed session, raise your right hand. We are now in closed session. All right, we are back in open session. The next item is the personnel report with the revised addendum. I think they called it tonight.
Move to approve the personnel report with revised addendum.
Motion made by Mr. Smith,
I second.
second by Mr. Nobles. All in favor of approving the revised addendum with the personnel report, raise your right hand. The personnel report is approved. Announcement?
Yes, I would like to introduce the newest two central office employees, and very excited to do this. Miss Mildred Keisha Dunn, since we got confused in closed session about that. We left Carolyn behind a little bit. Stand up, Miss Dunn. She is going to be our new Executive Director of Instructional Services. Congratulations, Miss Dunn. And since obviously you saw tonight, we're doing so many new things in curriculum and instruction. We have a new position, and I would like to recognize Ms. Frances Herring, who will be our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and work with our two coordinators to make sure all these things get done right. Ms. Herring.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Anderson, second by Mr. Nobles. All in favor of adjournment. We are now adjourned.